With the pivot to predominantly virtual speaking this year, it's easy to be overwhelmed as an aspiring or established professional speaker. Most of us are in a foreign environment that we simply aren't used to. Some have gone from speaking in person for decades to speaking virtually overnight. If established speakers are having to adjust, imagine what it's like for a person just starting out. If you remember from my previous tips, every now and then I talk about the speaking game being a revolving process. From the early stages of writing your ideas down on paper, to coordinating with event planners, and then later stages of practicing your talk and finally delivering it. You're bound to go through a roller coaster of emotions. While many of us aim to be perfect, the reality is that we'll all fall short. It doesn't mean that we won't get the job done, and that doesn't mean that we won't look good while doing it. It simply means that everything might not go the way you planned it to go, and you're bound to run into some surprises. But no matter what, you have to keep pushing forward. As a professional speaker, you're constantly under pressure. That's obvious. From the performance perspective to the entertainment factor, don't forget about quality. Are you just providing fluff, or are you providing your audience with useful, potential life-changing content? A proper mixture will require you to constantly think ahead at all times. Not to mention, you're in competition with other speakers. There will be nights where you knock the ball out of the park. Your content will land perfectly, and the crowd is constantly engaging with you. It will feel like you're on cloud nine and you simply can't be touched. And then that very next gig can bring you right back down to earth. It's an off night and you feel like everything has gone wrong, but you don't even have to totally bomb. It could be just simply that your energy wasn't there. Maybe you were sick. Maybe you didn't want to do the gig. But then again, you could totally bomb. You can forget what to say. You can have a tough question and answer session. The cards could totally not be in your favor. The thing is, you never really know until you're fully in the moment. My lowest point today occurred when I first started speaking. It wasn't even in a booked environment. It was one of my first speeches in Toastmasters. At the time, I bet on memorizing my speech instead of being confident in what I wanted to say, which I might add is one of the worst and easiest ways to embarrass yourself. The speech in total was about 7 minutes long, but only a minute into it, I blacked out, and for whatever reason, I forgot everything else I wanted to say. For a minute and a half, I had to go back to my iPad, figure out where I was in my speech, and also collect myself because I was beyond embarrassed. Now, I apologize to those who have heard me tell this story before, but I'm telling it again because at this early point in my speaking career, I could have given up. It was indeed my lowest point at the time, and really, it's my lowest point to date. I either could have folded and called it quits, or vowed to learn from that lesson and get better. When you experience something as low as that, especially when it comes to your passion, it can be easy for you to call it quits. But I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Because when you're chasing your passion, you'll experience many highs and many lows. It will require you to constantly adapt. If you see yourself being a successful professional speaker, you have to put the work in. You have to be consistent. You have to constantly deliver. And even if you get all these things right to a T, you'll make some mistakes. So that means you have to remain even keeled. Remember, you're human. You weren't meant to be perfect. None of us were meant to be perfect. But we are built to constantly improve. Don't let a bad day persuade you to call it quits before you even get started. Just imagine if Walt Disney gave up in the beginning. Our childhoods would look a lot different. They'd be absent of some really good memories. No Mickey Mouse, no Donald Duck, or even Disneyland. What I'm really trying to say is that for anybody successful that you look up to, imagine if they would have called it quit before they finally made it. If that was the case, you wouldn't be looking up to them, would you? And besides, everybody is somebody's hero. The way you embrace the good times and the bad times can truly inspire someone that you never knew was watching you. If you found this tip useful, please like it and share it. Comment on it as well and let me know what you think. Until next Monday, my name is Julian Leonard, and this tip was brought to you by the J. Leonard Group.